the next person that I'm about to introduce is representing all the deans of schools. That is Dr. Victor Lutsili, representing all the deans, but he's the Dean, School of Humanity, Social Sciences. Welcome, Dr.
Good morning and warm greetings from Deans of Schools at Technical University of Mombasa, on whose behalf I represent, and I make this address. As you have been told, I'm Dr. Victor Lutsili, Dean, School of Humanities and Social Sciences. At the outset, I would like to extend my appreciation to Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Research and Extension, Professor Peter Kishangi, and the Partnership Research and Innovations Division under the innovative leadership of Dr. Saulo Juma and his team. Their planning and organizations have made this event, whose theme is leveraging innovation and sustainable development, successful. I wish also to thank my fellow deans who generously and for some possibly grudgingly allowed me to be the one to make this address on their behalf. More importantly, I thank our University Council through the Vice Chancellor, Professor Laila Bakr, Technical University of Mombasa, under whose able leadership the holding of this event in these challenging but innovation-friendly COVID-19 times has been made possible. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2015, the United Nations General Assembly adopted an ambitious, all-encompassing agenda to guide the advancement of humankind for the next 15 years, known as the 2030 Agenda. The agreement calls upon all countries of the world to advance the welfare of their citizens sustainably to ensure the long-term viability of all development and growth. Key to the implementation of these Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, is the effective use of science, technology, and innovation, STI. Since then, and even before that, organizations across industries for the last decade have come to rely on innovation to remain relevant and effective in our constantly evolving society. This is witnessed especially by updating their products, business models, and developing new ones from the scratch. The innovation allows companies to stay abreast of changing consumer needs and expectations to remain competitive amongst similar companies in their space. Today, the innovation process is responsible for many of the most popular products and services we know. We now have app-ordered food delivery services, video streaming platforms, two-day shipping features from Jumia or Amazon or eBay, and so much more. However, please not misconstrue me as saying innovation is when large-scale projects are conceived and born, and it's not when small ones are hatched. Innovation is more than just large-scale projects. The education sector, for example, offers countless opportunities for change and involvement that have the potential to impact students, parents, and faculty members for years to come. The Innovation Day allows us at Technical University of Mombasa to explore the powerful significance of the innovative mindset among our faculty and students, and to look at tips for applying innovation in our educational institution today. Technological innovations are making a significant impact on education systems at all levels. At Technical University of Mombasa and many other institutions, online courses, for example, are becoming a norm courtesy of innovation. We also have teaching aids, educational software, social networking tools, and other emerging technologies are disrupting the traditional classroom environment. Understanding the effects that technological innovations have on students, teachers, and schools is critical to developing strategies and techniques to manage and use technology in education. What is innovation in education? Looking at TED Education blog, I saw such a question actually raised to educators from all around the world, and these are some of the responses. One says, I think of the expression, don't put new wine into old bottles when talking about innovation in education. This is a teacher from South Korea. And she goes on to say, the world is changing. However, people still teach and learn in a way that was invented in the Industrial Revolution. It doesn't just work anymore. Another one, Jennifer from US says, innovation in education involves constant collaboration with colleagues. A total last-minute redo of a teacher's lesson plan because there was something else out there that he or she just had to try. A change in the direction of a class because the students are driving instruction. Another one says, innovation in education is about more than just technology. It's about how you can use technology to empower students to become lifelong learners who are agents of change. That is a teacher from Jakarta, Indonesia. Therefore, when you look at this, you find that there's no single definition of innovation in education. But one thing is for sure, innovation has a very important place in education. Many mistakenly believe innovation has to do with the use of technology or new inventions. If we went by Harvard Todd's Ross argument that the hardest part of learning something new is not embracing new ideas, but letting go of old ones, then innovation in education, I should say, is doing things in a new way. What we need to be reminded, however, is to do something differently requires letting go old approaches, processes, products, or strategies and embracing new ones. Innovation-oriented faculty would, for example, be engaged in redesigning learning experiences to make them more relevant to students' interests and career paths, personalized to their aptitudes and abilities, and responsive to their cultural and individual identities. I'm pleased to acknowledge this is what we are doing at Technical University of Mombasa. As faculty and students, innovation in education invites us to explore, research, and engage all available tools to uncover new things. It involves a different way of looking at problems and solving them. The thinking process that goes into it is what we need to help students to develop their creativity and their problem-solving skills. Innovation is not creating something from nothing. It is seeking new hypotheses to test by deconstructing and researching existing phenomena. As Vadim Polikov in Innovation in Education is more than a new approach affirms, proving or disapproving hypotheses with a strong, rigorous research is the best way to move education forward. Innovation, therefore, improves education because it compels students to use higher level of thinking to solve problems. Let me look at some examples of innovation in education. Perhaps I should start by saying, critics of forums such as this one we have today will find a problem when I say innovation includes finding better ways of doing something and new ways to look at problems. Lest I be construed, accused of engaging in academic gibberish worth of nothing except its romantic tone, I wish to give an example of innovation from this story of students building recycling bins to support sustainability. This is what the students do. One, they identified problems with the waste management program, researched solutions, and created an advertising plan to promote their solution with help from other areas of the school, such as robotics and broadcasting. This is when we are taking curriculum, not just actually in its unitary state, but cutting across all other units within the university to help bring in the element of interdisciplinarity. This introduces, therefore, the next angle to innovation in education, thus the application of project-based learning. I believe this is what Madam Vice Chancellor Font refers to as applied research and learning. Indeed, project-based learning is key to spurring innovation and creative thinking. Instead of working on a single project in a maths class, project-based learning combines multiple disciplines in one project. It promotes active and deeper learning. Learning exposes us to a host of new idealistic ideas regarding life. A teacher came up with a project she called Build Your Own Utopia. In the project, students create their own utopian community and try to sway other students to move there. This project involves designing the community, creating a government and educational system, describing their neighborhoods, outlining employment, deciding on the climate for the community, and identifying technology views. Now, when you look at this creates actually a total relationship between engineering, School of Engineering, School of Applied Science, business, and even humanities. Because when you look at this, all disciplines are combined, they're brought together. In doing this, students think through everything it takes to build a city or a country. They learn about their current government and communities by contrasting them with the ideal society they create. Many examples exist, but those are just a few. So how do we encourage innovation in our learning or in doing our programs? Many institutions, I would say, avoid innovation, and those who support it hardly go beyond the mention of it on paper. I wish to suggest that policy not merely make a demand for innovation from its faculty members and students, but should create opportunities and incentives for folks to design different and better learning experiences. I believe here at Technical University of Mombasa, this is the new culture that is being created by the Office of PRI. Instead of simply teaching ABC and 1, 2, 3s, let us go beyond the basics by combining a variety of disciplines to come up with a new, different outcome. Knowledge of the basics is a starting point. Students use knowledge and concepts to find solutions by exploring until they find their best answers. How can we incorporate innovation and technology in our learning and research culture? I guess by seeking ways to encourage inclusive innovation. By inclusive innovation, I mean including groups that are currently marginalized in some aspects of innovation process. STI for sustainable development requires that innovation, the various actors or stakeholders be involved in STI activities so that outputs and outcomes of the processes are acceptable to them. In reality, I'm looking at democratization of innovation, making it participatory, hence available to every citizen. Creating innovation processes that take innovation from the premises of institutions of higher learning into communities, creating avenues for knowledge with and for communities for the betterment of those communities. It is making innovation a processorial encounter as opposed to a product which is only reported to communities. I believe Technical University of Mombasa is endowed with what it takes to drive this agenda, not only for sustainable communities in the coastal region, but in Africa as a whole. And this can only be through critical reflection of our academic programs to enable them to be more project-oriented and multidisciplinary than what we have now. A curriculum that will look into the processes of learning as opposed to the product of learning. The answer is not in how many graduates we give to the job market, but the sound of the numerous innovative encounters engaged in by our graduates as they change their communities. Let me conclude by quoting poet William Butler Yeats, which is fitting parallel for the role of innovation in education. Education should not be the filling of a bucket, but the lighting of a fire. Thank you.